All right, so that last little podcast got some attention. Yeah, the people the most sensitive to it fired off the quickest. All kinds of uninspired and uninitiated comments. Let's go through them because I think it might be worth our while. And like I said, don't listen if you ain't man enough. And sure enough, they weren't. If you do not know your enemies or thyself, you will be impelled in every battle. I'm not sure if your understanding is cognitively limited or if you just want to keep selling books so you can live comfortably in your old age without ever really having to fight. Well, first off, I served in the infantry. I know what it means to fight. I did it for 7 years. The first tenet, the first principle of military leadership is to know thyself and seek self-improvement. It is not figuring out who your enemy is. You know who that is. They're shooting at you. But man, that got a firestorm going. We just cannot keep going to work and pretending like everything is okay. We are way behind enemy lines. Just look at the election. You're right, they stole it. I never voted in my life, but I think worse is better for the short term. It's always good to name and know your enemy, but taking some type of small action against them, turning off TV, is of course better than bitching about them. Absolutely right. Listen, you can point the finger at all kinds of things, but if you're not king in your own home, and all you're doing is, if you don't like what's on TV, change the channel. If you don't like what's being advertised, and the advertising that bombards us is ridiculous. Listen, I don't know if you guys understand what a company's purpose is. It's to make money. Doesn't matter who owns it. Doesn't matter if it's a Chinese Chicom or a Russian or a Ukrainian or an American businessman or a Canadian businessman. The purpose of that company is to make money. Now, there are 850 million Caucasians in the world. Arguably, the most successful branch of the human condition. And they're only going to spend so much money on your product. Now, how are you going to get the rest of the 7 billion people in the world to spend money on your product? Or you're going to tie it all together. You're going to make it look like one big happy family. Well, I can be like that. I can buy this product. And people fall for it every day. Now, how people say, they're trying to get rid of us. Look at what they're doing. Yeah, they're trying to make money off you. They're trying to make money off everybody in the world. You don't like it? Don't buy it. But sitting around spewing off hatred because of ignorance is not doing us any favors. We already have a message that's been tarnished for 40 fucking years with baggage and media propaganda. We are not going to undo that. So we better be smarter. Here's an example. Do you think any successful Mormon businessman gives two shits what anybody else in the world is doing? Nope. You know what he's doing? He's taking care of his family. He's taking care of those around him. He's making sure that everyone in his community has the opportunity to be as successful as he is. Do you hear him complain? Nope. So why do you think we should get a free pass to complain about something? We're not going to stir up the same kind of sentiment in pre-World War II Germany. When resources and opportunities begin to dry up for a community and someone points out someone to blame, that's the pattern. That's how it works. That's the mechanics of what made it great. That's the mechanics of what created and rebuilt that, all that stuff. Now, the German Spring didn't happen until after World War II. You might want to pay attention to that too. So here's the deal. The only thing you have control over at all, ever, is you. You. That's it. The great dragons that you think you got to fight are not out there. They're right inside you. Your failures, your losses, your ridiculousness, your drug addiction, your alcoholism, your bad driving record, your abuse to your spouse, your abuse to your kids, all of the best thinking you could come up with. That's on you. Not anybody else. There's no scapegoat. And we're getting to a point where We're not going to be able to even begin to approach it as if that's a legitimate excuse. Why are we still allowing people that want to call themselves masculine to actively use a scapegoat for their own failures in life? Who is your enemy? Who is it who is trying to keep you held down? The whole culture pretending that our failure is someone else's fault is just weak. There are loads of obstacles to overcome for everyone. That's exactly right. Everything ain't wrong in that. Creating awareness and counter propaganda is not the same as bitching. No, you know what it's called? It's called leading with the chin. It's called leading with the chin before you've created for everybody else to see the example of what a successful man could be in the world. Before you've made a mark in the world, before you've made your first $1 million, and I don't care if you put it under the mattress or buy gold or whatever. You don't want to put it in the bank, that's your business. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to fool with the Fed either. But be that as it may, before you've even made your first $1 million, held political office, started a company, or been successful in your community, you think creating awareness and counter propaganda is going to be an effective tool? Oh? How so? Tell me why anyone should pay attention to you. Who are you? What have you done? What have you accomplished? These are the questions I ask myself. Who am I? Who am I to say I can think I can say these things? My answer is always the same, because I'm Brian Wilton, and I've served for this country. He is broadcasting from Israel. Really? You got to do better than that. You're going to lose the argument. But use it to motivate you and your cell, tribe, group, etc. That's not a bad deal. That's not a bad idea. Look, if you're going to know yourself and seek self-improvement, you've got to be aware of what's up against you, of what you're facing. We live in a world that could give two shits less whether or not you're successful at a single thing you do. But the instant you're successful, they will all want to come eat at your table. Don't doubt me? Go find out. How about staying well versed on the enemy and the barrage of attacks on our people, and at the same time making our mark on the world? I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive. Here in Norway, the propaganda is force-fed to us from all angles at all times, and most people aren't even aware of its implications. You're right. I do what I have to do every day for my own well-being as well as my family's, but as of now, their efforts are working. We are being replaced, and it is due to a targeted, concerted effort. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I look at Europe, and it saddens me deeply. Millions upon millions of refugees who have no intention whatsoever of becoming a part of that great culture. The various great cultures that literally bred the modern world with industrial revolution and technology. And there may be pitfalls to all of that. And we're watching it burn. In our lifetime, we're watching it burn. If you don't have a brother, if you don't have some men around you that you can call and say, hey man, I got this going on, you're making a real mistake. You're setting yourself up for failure. If you don't know how to do it, go pay attention to Master Chim for a little while. He'll tell you how to do it. You don't know how to be successful in this world? Get a hold of Paul Wagner, see what he's got going on. He'll show you how to be successful in this world. He's got a hell of a good program. So does Justin. You don't see them leading with the chin. You see them building each other up. We can no longer afford. In 2012, I was at Camp Norgay at an AFA get-together, and Steve McNally said some words I'll never, ever forget. He said, we cannot afford to surrender the semantic high ground. And yet here we are. We've already lost it. So we got to figure out how we're going to reclaim what we believe is ours. And it starts with each one of us doing our damnedest to be as successful as we can possibly be. Because I assure you, that man over there across the street that hadn't had it fixed in 3 days, that's got a knife, he's a heck of a lot more dangerous to you than whatever conspiracy you think is going on. That terrorist with a funny looking package and a cell phone, he's a little bit more dangerous to you than what you think you see on the greater whole. We're sitting here looking at this great forest of intimidation, and we're forgetting about the snakes that are at our own feet. Yeah, I said some things, and I know it fired people up. Good. That's my job. That's what I'm here for. To get you to think about what we're doing. To get you to think about how to do it better. To get you to grow up to be men. And I don't mean subscribing to some YouTube guru about what it means to be masculine or an alpha. You know, look, if you're following some alpha on YouTube that says you got to do this, this, and this, and you're a little over here beta, and you start doing whatever it needs to be an alpha like he says, you're missing the point about knowing yourself. We live in a time, like I said, the world is literally coming apart at the seams. And if somebody doesn't start rattling us up to say, hey, it's time for us to start getting some money together, because that's what talks in this world. Not all this bullshit. Not all this propaganda. Success. Money. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. That's what runs this world. This world runs on death. It's time for us to figure out how to capitalize on our own abilities. We have been left by the wayside. Our fathers have abandoned us. We've lost the greatest generation. And we have another generation of children being raised by their mothers. As men, we have a responsibility to all of that. And it has to start with each one of us standing up, pulling our boots up, sticking our chest out, going to work, walking out of the front gate every day with our chest stuck out, our head held high, and a pocket full of cash like men. That's where it has to start. We can no longer afford to be sucked into this rabbit hole or that rabbit hole that somebody says, well, this is really important and this is what's really going on. And you need to understand history and what's really happening in the world. No, what you need to understand is that it's your turn. It's your turn to stand up. It's your turn to stand up and be a man. I don't care what you believe. Believe it with all you got. But by the same token, put in the hard work necessary to back it up. Be willing to get in there and get dirty all the way up to your armpits to lead by example and set a standard of success so your sons, other people's sons, see what it means to be a hardworking man, to stand up, to run for political office, to start a business, to make a pocket full of money, to be a benefit to your community. Stand up, show them what it means to have a little charisma and be a man. We don't have time to sit around and bitch about anything else. That battle's already lost. And the sooner we figure that out, the sooner we got an opportunity to be who we're supposed to become. Now figure it out. You ain't got to like it. That's just the truth of the matter. And if you need somebody to say, hey, I don't get this, call me. Reach out to me. Brian, I think you're dumber than a sack of cat shit. I think you're dumber than a bag full of hammers. Why don't you explain it to me one more time? Brian, I can't get up. Brian, I've got a gun in my mouth. I don't think I can go any further. Okay, let's talk for a minute. Because I promise you, if you reach out to me under those terms, I'll break my back to make sure you're every bit as successful and you don't have to worry about all this horseshit all these other people are using to determine the quality of your spirituality. Doubt it? Try me.